Welcome everybody here. Today we are talking with another super person. It's a friend of mine since a few years. He's Guillermo M, and he's an ex-hedge fund trader and currently a professional analyst. Definitely top 1% today here with us. He's gonna tell us some super cool, juicy stuff to know. And here we go. Welcome, G. How are you?
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm very glad to be here.
First question I will ask you here today is, you are definitely a 1%. I know you well, so I know that you are awesome in every single things that you do, indeed. But generally speaking, you have a lot of great ideas that comes for discipline and being very efficient, productive. So tell me something about this. Tell me something that could be very interesting for a listener.
Okay. First, let me start with I actually live my life with efficiency as my core concept. I honestly think that efficiency mindset will make the world a better place. What do I mean? So for example, every time I want to do something, I always try to see if it has some like added value or expected value to it. For example, if I like drinking a coffee every morning, I don't just want to drink the coffee for the sake of drinking. Yes, I may enjoy it, but I also want some extra benefits. So for example, maybe I can attach the pleasure of having a coffee with reading 10 or 15 pages of a book. So now I'm enjoying my coffee, plus I'm reading, so I'm being efficient, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the whole point for me of being efficient. It's always trying to maximize my time, maximize my resources to find a better thing to do. Mm-hmm. I have another example. For example, a lot of people like snowboarding. That's me. I love snowboarding, but snowboarding is quite expensive hobby. Mm-hmm. So it's really not very efficient. You know, mm-hmm. You may work maybe snowboarding, depending where you go, is like around $1,000 to $500, but that's like what, 3-4 hours, very realistically speaking, of good fun. Mm-hmm. So that's not very efficient, you know. Mm-hmm. What is more efficient is you choose something that's very similar to snowboarding. For example, in my case, I choose skateboarding. Mm-hmm. You buy one skateboard, and actually the return on investment on that skateboard is like infinite, because you can keep skateboarding for days and days. Like I skateboard like 30 minutes a day, 1 hour a day, and I can keep doing this for months. So now my return investment on the skateboard is just gigantic versus snowboarding, which was like 2 or 3 hours for $1,000. And if I want to repeat it, then you gotta keep doing it. So I actually apply this systematic thinking to my life. I know it's kind of like objective and very maybe like rigid thinking, but I really love efficiency and really love thinking in systems. One thing
you made me think a very interesting point. I went to ice skating with my girl like a few months ago, whatever. And you know, it's a winter thing, and you need the ice and you need everything. So then I decided to buy the rollerblades, because then we can do it whenever we want. We can go and, you know, bring like a ball and then go basketball or volleyball. You know, like we can include several activities. So it's interesting how we were doing something that you were mentioning.
That's exactly it, man. Expensive activities. So it makes no sense. Like if you want to do snowboarding, then you want to do movies, then you want to do a trip. All these things add, man. And the expected value, or let's say the efficiency of it, diminishes pretty quickly. At the end of the day, if the experiences that you pay the less for them are actually worth more. And this is more on the psychology part, because each time you pay $1,000 to snowboard, actually now you're saying, I just spent $1,000. I gotta have fun, you know? Like, I gotta have fun.
Yeah. It's a must now.
Exactly. Now, each thing you do while you're snowboarding, you're comparing to, wow, was this worth the $1,000? Actually, when you, like, if you buy the roller blades or you buy a skateboard, actually the cost is not so big, but you keep doing it, so after some time, you forgot you spent the money, and then it's all fun, you know? That whole quote of like, the small details or small things in life are that matter. It's kind of the same thing. Once things are not compared to a financial currency or like a financial value, then you start actually enjoying things more for they are, and not for like the money you paid for. The same thing happens where like, you can go to a really good restaurant, order a really expensive meal, and get a really bad taste on it, right? And then you're gonna be not only pissed that your food is not good, but you're gonna be pissed you just spent some good money on the food, right? You're like, so for me, it happens the same with the food. Like for me, it doesn't matter the price of the food. Like I could go to an expensive restaurant, or I can have the same meal at home, but at the end of the day, it's the meal that I look for, the deficiencies. Like I know I like it, I take it whatever, even if it's expensive or not. So at the end of the day, for me, living an efficient way is crucial in every aspect. And now that we're talking about efficiency, like I apply it to everything. Like I don't like carrying a lot of liquid funds or cash in my, you can call it portfolio. For example, every income I get, I always deposit it on an account that already has like a high yield. We're living in a high interest rate era right now. High interest rate era around 5%, which is like average in the long term, but in the the past 20 years, it's actually high. So each time, for example, I get paid 1K, this 1K gets deposited into a high yield account, which is already 5% yield. So by the fact that I got paid for 1K, I'm already doing $50 on those 1K after 1 year. So it's pretty much what I'm doing is like a passive income. Like each time I get paid, that money, it's already working for me the moment it gets deposited on my account. Again, this is efficiency, man. Like everything I like it is efficiency.
That's actually amazing, because this is how most of the people should think, right? In efficient, especially a person that wants actually to achieve success should always be inclined towards efficiency, because then you, for example, a very simple exercise that I was also doing is to note down, actually a friend that we have in common, told me this exercise, and then I did it a few times, right? Just to understand a bit how the day is going, and then you sign up, on a notepad, whatever, like, okay, this time, for this amount of time, I'm doing X. And then, I don't know, for example, wake up, doing, phone answering to, then breakfast, then work, etc. And then you understand that you are sometimes losing a lot of time. Like, for example, I don't know, shower 30 minutes. And you're like, damn, I spent 30 minutes showering, so that is not efficient at all, because then you start to, going to the gym 20 minutes, for example. So you're like, damn, 20 minutes just to go to the gym. Not even start.
When you start tracking your time habits, you realize you use time not so good.
What about discipline? Like, we were discussing about some very interesting topic, I remember, with you, with discipline and neuronal connections. So how to be more disciplined and how to maybe exchange an habit for another habit. What can you tell us about this?
Okay, this may sound controversial, but I think discipline is a buzzword. And actually, I think discipline is really a recipe for disaster. Let me explain you why.
Interesting.
It's not that discipline is bad. Discipline is good. But the thing is, if you are forcing yourself to do stuff, like you're using your willpower, there's scientific research that says that we have limited willpower as humans. So let's say if you wake up at 5 a.m., that's discipline, right? Then you go for a 2-hour jog, that's discipline again. And you can keep doing this maybe for 2 or 3 weeks. But eventually, that discipline muscle will deplete. And once it depletes, you hit the wall. Then you're going to start waking up at 9 a.m. and then you're not going to do exercise for 2 years. And that's the story of everyone who starts really hard in discipline and then they burn out.
That's very true.
For me, this discipline should not be daily. Explain you, how do I frame it? Because discipline sometimes is needed, of course, but it should be your last resort. Like if you have to apply discipline, that means that your habits are not in line. So now we go back to the habits. Because actually, when you have good habits, you're not doing discipline. You are just doing habits. Like for example, like brushing your teeth. That requires no discipline, right? It's not like every night you say, like, I need to brush my teeth, but you know what? I'm stronger. I need it. No. You just go, you just brush your teeth. It's just like a simple thing in your life. It's almost like autopilot. You just do it. You're done with it. It requires no effort, right? That's a good habit. Besides being a good habit in the hygiene, it's a habit that doesn't require any neural capacity. It just runs. So if you do the same with things on your life that are important, if you turn them into these effortless habits, then you need no discipline. It's just part of your life. Like for example, you see I'm pretty sure you see Ronaldo training, and you're gonna see like Cristiano Ronaldo, and I think damn, this dude has so much discipline. I'm pretty sure that dude doesn't think about it as discipline. He just loves to do it. It's part of his routine. So when he wakes up early, he trains, he eats very well, he's not forcing himself to do it. He's just been doing it so long, and it's so normal to him that actually he needs discipline when he needs to rest. For him, rest is actually not normal. So
he has to force himself.
He now applies discipline to be able to rest, and that happens to me as well. Like I love my work. I love reading. I love working out. I actually love eat very clean. Like I don't eat processed things. So sometimes I go out with my family to a restaurant that is definitely not super healthy. And when I see the menu, it's like, okay, I don't see anything that is really clean or not processed. So I gotta exercise discipline and eat bad, but to share with my family because it's an experience of sharing, So I'm not gonna be like that guy saying, I'm not gonna have a pizza. No. okay, I'm gonna order a pizza, I'm gonna enjoy it, but I need to apply discipline to be able to think about it as investment for my family, as in I'm spending time with them. This is family time. I should enjoy my meal. It's only one meal, then I'm gonna go back to eating clean. So I'm applying discipline to eating bad, which is like, wow, what are you talking about? This is the complete opposite. But because clean eating is so like rooted into me that eating not clean is hard for me.
Yep.
So that's what I mean. I build a lifestyle that doesn't require discipline because my habits are just in place in the correct way, and eating clean is just easy.
Okay. And how do you suggest a person starts, applying this?
That's a good question because it is very tricky, and it's kind of like a very, art thing to do, because if you start too hard on a new subject, then it becomes discipline driven. If, for example, you're doing no exercise and you go from no exercise to I'm gonna do exercise 5 days a week, 2 hours a week, 2 hours a day. Of course, that is discipline because you come from zero and you go from zero to hero. Then you gotta like exercise a lot of discipline, and it's gonna be unsustainable. This is unsustainable growth or unsustainable change of habits. The way to do it is you obviously first you do you try to understand what's your initial point, and then you figure out what's your goal. So in between there's a big gap, but the big gap doesn't need to be filled right away. So what you start doing is you start from if you're in ground zero, you start in step number 1, which is, for example, in working out. Okay, I want to work out. I want to be super fit. That's my end goal. But, to be super fit, that most probably will need to eat very clean and exercise probably very frequently. Because we can start in exercise, there's intensity, there's volume, but let's keep it simple. You can exercise relatively frequently and with enough intensity to be fit, right? So the first thing you're going to think is, I'm going to exercise every day for 2 hours and not to do from zero. So the first step, if I was in that position, would be, okay, I will start exercising, not my whole body, because I'm not exercising, but start exercising the exercises that I like, that I feel like they are more natural to me. So maybe I will start exercising my biceps, So day 1, I will do 20 minutes of bicep curls. You know what? It felt fantastic. I exercised no willpower, no discipline. You know what? Because biceps was kind of easy to me. I keep doing this for maybe 1 week, and all of a sudden, exercising biceps feels natural. It's like each time I think about exercising biceps, I don't need to force myself to do it. It's just like, yeah, I don't do it. It's easy. It's hard. Habits normally they stick if you feel like a dopamine release from them, and if they feel easy. If they feel very hard and you get no dopamine from them, you're not gonna stick to them. As simple as that. So you have to increase in certain stepwise fashion, and you also need to be sure you're kind of reaping benefits. Like in the bicep example, you're not looking at your bicep growing on that day, but the feeling you get after the exercise, you feel good after exercise. So you're actually releasing dopamine, and it was easy. So it's like, you know what? Your brain's gonna think why is it so bad? Let's stick with it, right? Next week you can actually try. Now what? I'm gonna add a little bit of triceps, and now it does feel easy as well. So week 2, your brain is like, okay, bicep, tricep, you do it for 20 minutes. It's not so bad. But if in week 3 you come and you say, you know what, I'm prepared. I'm gonna throw now squats, deadlift, bench press. Okay, that was a tough week. And you've been able to stick with it a second week and a third week. But eventually you're gonna burn out. So my advice is figure out your goal, figure out your start point, and start building it very slowly. And once you build very slowly, then you realize, oh my God, all of a sudden I'm doing 30 minutes, 40 minutes a day, and I feel like it's completely normal. And once you feel it's completely normal, jackpot, you're in the right track to become fit. And you're gonna be fit, no matter what, you're gonna be fit. You know why? It's part of your habits now. You just exercise. It's kind of it's your, almost like your reality, it's exercise. So when you don't exercise, you're gonna feel like, okay, I feel weird, I didn't exercise. It's part of your habit,
You are challenging the fact that being disciplined is not really the thing, but you have to build a habit and a new habit and starting step by step. And that, for all the knowledge that you have, is the only way to achieve really success.
Yeah, like I told, discipline is obviously a key, but discipline should just come here and then. You should not rely daily and almost every action on discipline. Imagine, discipline is not easy. Then you burn out. It's obvious why people burn out, especially people who they want to be driven and they start just slamming the discipline. It's just burn out, man. It's like you cannot do it. The brain has this thing called neuroplasticity, which means that the brain works as a muscle. So literally, the parts of our brain that we exercise the most, they will grow. But just as a muscle, if you do biceps every day for 3 hours, yes, they will start growing. But then at a certain point, you have a burnout, like you are overtraining, and your biceps will actually stop growing. You're gonna start feeling really bad. Same happens to the brain. Yes, discipline can be like nourished and can be improved, but it's just like a neuroplasticity of the brain will dictate that your discipline will grow until you are fatigued. As simple as that. So the more you practice things without really burning out, the more they will stick in the long term. As simple as that. It's just about sustainability. Things that go too fast too soon, they burn out. Things that go at a steady pace, but like they climb up, that's compound interest. And that's how you actually become wealthy, and that's also how you become success. Like, Warren Buffett, like one of the legendary, he's still alive, one of the legendary value investors, like he invests in a way that is quite slow. Right now, he's one of the richest people in the world. Not only that, but his way of investing may look a little bit boring for a lot of people, but it works. Like the dude his company is top 10 in the United States on market cap. He's a billionaire. He's like, I don't know, $80 billion net worth. So it works. We apply the same methodology to life. Things that take some time to build, they're gonna stick. And then once it reaches a critical mass size, once it is big enough, then you get this compound effect. What I mean is like, yeah, maybe the first week only doing biceps will not get you to your dream body. But as you grow up in your habit, and then once you arrive at that habit of working out every day, 30 minutes, all the body, then you're becoming fit is gonna be relatively easy. Then it's just a matter of time. After 4 or 5 months of working out every day for 30 minutes and eating clean, trust me, you're gonna be fit. That's just biology. If you eat clean and you eat less calories and you are working out and you're fit, as simple as that, that's fit. You're gonna be fit.
Let's change a little bit the angle indeed, because you're talking about something that is extremely interesting, and you are also talking about compound effect and be successful in pretty much every area of your life. So I know that you are a winner also with ladies, because, well, I know you pretty well, so I know that you are rocking even in that experience. What about the online dating life? What about Tinder, Bumble, and this kind of stuff? How can you maybe apply also the things that you are saying, and be successful in that?
That's a funny question, because I will apply the same system. What I mean is like, on these online platforms, it's extremely efficient to date. Why it's efficient? Because there's so much people you can reach in a very short amount of time. So this is the definition of efficiency. So no, obviously it's not as easy just be on the platform. Sure. Because if that was that easy, then everyone was just like match. Well, that's not it. So it's almost like a trial and error. What I mean is like, yeah, you gotta figure out first who you are, which is kind of like we all do every day in life. But yeah, like if you're genuine, you really figure out who you are, then you're gonna know what you can bring to the table. What's your value, right? And once you know what's your value, the second thing you gotta figure out is who likes your value, because not everyone will have the skills or appreciate the value of everyone, and that's life. Like maybe I cannot appreciate a very nice painting from, I don't know, a famous artist, but someone else will. Maybe the painting is worth $2 million, but I will not pay $10 for it. The same applies to people, Some people will value you, some people will don't. So once you know your value, then you figure out what type of girl will appreciate your value. And once you figure out that type of girl, then you will customize your profile to be able to appeal to them. Yep. Because if let's say if you're a smart guy, and your profile doesn't look smart, but only looks like sports and everything, then you're gonna attract girls who like sports. So once you go in a date with them, then he's gonna crush, because you're not that type of guy. You're just presenting yourself in an genuine way, and once they see who you are, there's a spread there. You're not that guy, so you're not gonna have real success with it. But if you actually know you're a smart guy and you present your profile as a smart guy, and you appeal to girls who like smart guys. Then eventually you're gonna find the girls that will like you. And since Tinder and Bumble, these things give you access to, I don't know, thousands of girls at a time, you can do this regularly. You can keep like tweaking your profile to actually get the results, but you actually need to track the results. Like everything in life that you want to improve on, you gotta track the results. Like, all right, I did these changes, I'm approaching this way the dating apps, is it working, yes or no? Did it work? Why do I think it worked better? Like you have to do incremental changes and test things, It's kind of like scientific method. You have a theory, you apply a new action, did it work? Did it not work? And if it did work, why it did work? And if it did not work, well, why not? And you have to pivot really quickly. Like, if it's not working, you're not gonna keep doing this thing for 2 years. If it's not working after 2 weeks, you gotta pivot really fast. You know, it's about life. You gotta adapt. You gotta be fast. You gotta be nimble. But that will be my advice for this.
Constant A/B testing.
Testing, figure out who you are, figure out who likes who you are, and that's the secret sauce. Once you figure out who likes you, then it should be relatively easy to connect to them. You know, but if you are just there like lingering, you're trying to appeal to everyone, you're not so sure who you are as a person, it's really hard to have any type of success or even like good connection with people if you're not really sure who you are, what you like, right?
Oh, golden stuff that you're saying, because many people is very, very confused about all this. Oh, but how my Tinder, whatever, my Bumble, my online profile in dating is not working, and you're saying extremely interesting stuff, because most of the people do not even know that you could customize, for example, a profile based on the girl that you're searching, right? So even details like this and the constant test. No, I did a profile, now it should work. It's out there in the internet and it should just work. Why it's not working, right? Instead it's a constant test.
Yeah, a typical guy who like purchase like a photo shoot gets like 4 good pictures, but like random pictures, you know, like one picture like on a, I don't know, like just sitting on a chair, like
one behind a wall with a wall behind.
It's like, what's the message? Like, who are you in that picture? Like, yeah, you're stylish, but what else are you doing? You know, like for example, I remember back in the day when I was in the apps, I did exactly what we're talking about. I pay a photographer, I got my new pics. You know, they were pretty pics, but they were like kind of like general pics.
Yep.
Walking in the street. Okay, another one is like watching the park.
Next to a tree.
Yeah, like okay, they were nice pics, but I have like kind of like redundant thing of them, which was like there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
It's much better if I have for example, I like reading and I like coffee. So for example, if I do a photo shoot, I will definitely, and I also like being stylish, right? So if I want to do a photo shoot, one of my first pictures will be a coffee shop, drinking a coffee and maybe having a book in the table, because that actually denotes who I am as a person. It shows who I am as a person. And then a girl who's actually also into drinking or coffee will see that picture. And the first thing is going to be like, okay, this picture looks good or not? Yes, it looks good. You pass the test, you retain the attention of the girl, and then she's going to be like, wow, but this guy is reading. Wow, he's drinking a coffee as well. Maybe we could bond through the coffee. And then it's, wow, voila, likes you, you know? But if she only looks at your picture,
match.
Like, it's a nice, yeah, if it's just a nice picture, maybe you will catch her attention for like 2 seconds, but then she's gonna be like, yeah, but yeah, she's not doing anything boring. Next, you know?
And this is what we are indeed teaching with my partner, Alec PH or Alessandro. We are teaching all this kind of stuff. We show how to be yourself, you know, with your clothes, with your style, and then having like an amazing, you know, setup for your profile. And whatever you're saying, I mean, everything that you're saying, it's perfect, it's on point, it's really a person that understood very well how the gaming works. Now let's talk about style, because style is one of my main powers that I have, that I teach all over the world. So tell me, what do you think about style? How important is style to appear on a business level and clearly on a dating level?
So I like this question a lot. And I mean, you haven't mentioned, but you were a style mentor back in the day. I consider you a style mentor. Not like in the sense that you gave me a style, but there were some things you said that really resonated with me and I have kept it in my mind. One of them was, and this is very funny because I'm pretty sure you don't remember saying this to me, but
maybe
one time you said to me like, one of the best styles is when you combine things that don't match in a very smooth way. I was like, wait, what? And actually, this thing has stick in my life. Example, I don't remember exactly what wardrobe we were looking at, but they told me, yeah, like you have to combine. Like if you have like a very serious blazer and you know like a jacket. But and everything looks very serious, but if you put like a really nice sneakers, which are not like formal, then you turn it to a very stylish thing because you combine the styles. And when you show me that, it's like, well, actually, this looks pretty nice. So,
I never thought about it. I remember you told me that. No, man, but I remember you told me one time, I mean, that moment that we were doing the coaching, I remember you told me, I would never try this thing. I would never even try. Like, I would look at it and just not even notice it. And then I told you, no, man, this thing is amazing on you.
That's it, exactly. Like, you blow my mind that actually you can mix styles in a very, like, probably maybe
stylish.
80% of, yeah, maybe 80% of your wardrobe looks formal, but if you put that 20% in a very like casual way, then the whole thing looks like amazing, you know, like, okay, maybe a very serious like blazer, but sneakers, and you have some piercings, boom, stylish, you look great, you know. And I apply these a lot in my life because, for example, if I go now I don't only do it with styles, but I also do it with fit. Like I go, if my lower part of the body is in a loose fit, then I go with my upper part of the body very, very like tight. So for example, if I have like these like loose sweatpants, then I will go with a very tight shirt, and it looks great because if I go everything loose, then I look like I didn't put any effort. But when you have these contracts, it actually looks pretty nice. Or vice versa. I'm using, for example, this shirt is kind of loose, you know, but if this type of shirt, I will use it with kind of like with the skinny jeans. And then I would use like maybe some boots that are big. So then these contracts create that same effect of loose, fit, big. Then you look great. I also apply it to my, in general, with my hair and my facial hair. So for example, by having long hair, you can call this like a messy man bun or like a messy
Man bun,
haircut.
yep.
Because it's long, it's hairy. So if I have a long hairy hair in my head, I'm not gonna have a long beard. Why? Because it's a lot of hair. It's a lot of things. So now that I have longer hair, I try to keep my beard more tidy. Now, so it looks stylish because if I have long hair and long beard, it may look a little bit more homeless style. Then if I have short beard and short hair, it looks too try hard. But if I have long beard, short hair, looks stylish. If I have short beard and long hair, it looks stylish as well. So I apply this concept of contrast. I love the contrast, and everything came from that moment where you explained that if you combine things that are different in a good way, it actually creates a really nice style. And I agree with you. I like that. For me, it's very important to create these things, and for me also, it doesn't need to be expensive clothes because
Very true.
It's not efficient. You can be stylish by having intention on how you put your things together.
Yep.
You're not just gonna grab like a random shirt or a random pants and a random shoes and you put it together and voila. No. You go like, for example, me. I try to go with darker colors. Why? Because my personality is a little bit on the introverted side. So what does that mean to me? That means that I like my wardrobe to talk loud for me. What I mean is like, if I dress in an elegant way and like black and kind of like impactful, my personality is already mysterious, but once you add that layer of, oh, he has like a black long coat, that he looks elegant, who is this guy? It just powers up that mystery. And I embrace it, you know? But if my personality is already introverted side, I'm already a mysterious person, and I dress all red, it kind of like contrasts too much, you know, like, it will not be my style. I will feel like I'm projecting myself to be like red, very outgoing, yet I'm not that person, you know? So for me, style is also a way of expressing who you are inside.
I wanted just to add that everything you're saying of course, is true because I also taught you some of these things. I don't want to say everything, of course, but there is a lot of testing, like you were also mentioning, and that every person is different. So every person maybe will have an amazing style with something, and another person just a very different thing. But yeah, generally speaking, of course, this is on point. It's all good. And how important is this to get girls or to be not financially successful, but at least in business, you know, when you're networking and so on?
Well, it's very important. Again, I don't think that dressing expensive is the key. I think that dressing in a nice way will talk loud for you. You don't need to be, for example, you can be very stylish, very nicely presented. You don't need to be formal and still cause a very nice impact on people. Because people will remember, oh, that guy looks well. And looks well doesn't really mean he's elegant or he's expensive. It actually creates an impact, you know. Oh, sometimes just being simple stuff can create that effect of being elegant for me. For example, I think that if I'm gonna go meet someone, I will probably dress with a long sleeve shirt, but I will still wear my ripped jeans, but they're black. So again, the shirt may be a little bit looser, but the pants are tighter, and I will wear like a nice black boot, so everything is black, but my shirt has some like even through its red, even through its black, has some red details. So you know, these details in red looks nice. That the shirt may be baggy, but the pants are more tight, creates the nice contrast, and it's not that fully formal, but it's semi-formal, so it creates a nice image all around. So I think that the image it's key. I will not work with someone who looks like a homeless. Like if I'm going to meet someone, I will not work with someone who looks like a homeless. Let's be real. But I will also not work with someone who looks very uptight. You know, everything's so clean, everything's so nice, and he's just too rigid. Like I wanna work with someone who looks nice and feels genuine. So again, I feel like I'm like a broken record saying genuine, but I feel like being genuine to you, like your style, it will get you a long way, because once you dress in a way that is stylish and you feel comfortable in it, then you're gonna start like showing your true self, because you're feeling comfortable, you have confidence in yourself. Like dressing in a confident way doesn't again mean expensive. It means like you dress in a nice way that you feel nice. That gives you like this extra mojo, extra power. Like you go into a business and you're like a totally different person if you're dressing nicely in a way that you like it.
And I mean, and everything you're saying, of course, that applies on business, because it's very extremely important the way that you present yourself, and someone who wants to trust you with money or with some sort of responsibility in a business. Yeah. What about with girls? Like, how can we apply this, or how important is this to get a girl, to get her attention, attraction, make her attracted to you? Maybe on a first sight, on a superficial level, they can give you this first edge. Then, of course, clearly later will come also personality, but at the beginning.
I would say it's the same. Like business and dating are very correlated. Like first impressions do matter. Like we have a thing. We have certain things in our brain called heuristics or cognitive biases. That means that, for example, once you have a first impression, you tend to try to confirm that your impression is correct. So if your first impression, this is called confirmation bias. So if your first impression is this guy is not trustworthy because he looks a little bit sleeky, then you're trying to find things that confirm that bias. So maybe, I don't know, you say a joke, but the joke doesn't feel that good. Oh, and this guy's not trustworthy, then you lost the sale, you lost the date. So again, first impressions do matter, man. It's just easier, if you create a good first impression, that thing is gonna stick in their head and they're gonna try to confirm that first impression is real. It just makes things easier, Why? We go back to efficiency. Be efficient. Create a good first impression, then things are gonna be just smoother, in life and dating.
I have another question for you that is regarding gym. We were discussing at the beginning of the call before we started to record. You told me something that caught really my attention. There was about gym, because I told you, hey, I go 1 hour a day at the gym, and you told me I'm going 20 minutes. So you were like, whoa, 25 minutes at the gym? How you doing? What is the thing there? Sam, explain a little bit more, please.
Okay. So I go, most of the time I try to go daily to the gym, but only for 20 minutes, no more. Why? The reason is because I've been working out since I'm 18 and now I'm 32, so there's been quite a lot of trial and errors and like a lot of experience there. The thing is, I noticed that I burn out when I overwork. Why? Because it seems like my central nervous system gets taxed relatively easy. So for me, it's better to do consistent efforts through the week than just doing bigger sessions. So this is like the analogy. For example, let's say you want to get good at, I don't know, playing soccer. You think you're gonna get better playing soccer, playing 8 hours on one day each week, or you're gonna get better by playing 30 minutes each day. It's just the same, your body works the same. So maybe if you're doing 1 hour a day, every day you're gonna burn out. Then you may say, okay, I'm gonna do 2 hours, 3 days a week. You're not gonna burn out, but are you being consistent enough? So for me, what it makes more sense is 20 minutes per day. It's fast. Like I go right into it. I work out pretty much 20 minutes with almost no rest. And after 20 minutes, I'm pretty tired. Honestly, I will not be able to work out 40 minutes like that. Or I will be able to, but I will burn out like after 2 weeks. So for me, it's very efficient because it doesn't tax my central nervous system that much. It still lets me work because at the end of the day, I'm not a professional athlete, so I still need to have some mental energy to do my work after working out. And if I work out for 1 or 2 hours, I'm kind of useless for another 3 hours after that, So that's how I do it. My approach is I want to be fit enough. I don't need to be the most fit person in the planet because at the end of the day, I'm not an athlete, man. I just want to look good naked, So I need to look good naked. So 20 minutes per day reaches that goal and also keeps me healthy because I also try to do things that increase my mobility, increase my strength, increase my cardio, but I'm not going to excel at any of them. So I'm going to be like this guy who can jump, run, and do a lot of stuff. I'm not going to win an Ironman, and I'm okay with that. That's efficient with me.
The efficiency is really supposed to be the name of this podcast. This episode. Okay, so thank you very much for all your efficiency, ideology that really opened up our brains towards efficiency and being efficient and do the things to get to our success. To every person that really, I mean, every person that will listen to this type of podcast is because wants to become amazing in something, and this is definitely something extremely useful. Efficiency, being efficient to get to your goals. Now, before to close this call, I have to ask you if you have any extra, maybe golden suggestion, tip, or something that we could really, can help us, we can use as a closing thought for today's episode.
Yeah, I think I have one. I want to say that the business industry that I work on has a lot of machine learning, a lot of math. So it's a really long journey. So one of the things I can advise you on is like, some things that are complex and are very nice to be able to achieve, they will take time. So when we talk about habits, like small increments, think about this as a marathon. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take consistent daily effort. Like every day, I always do a little bit of really good like sports. Like for example, every day I work out, every day I read, every day I do a little bit of machine learning. And even if it's 10, 15, or 20 minutes each day, I'm practicing it, so I don't lose it. So this constant practice. Yeah, it will take some time, but then the skill is really going to stick in your brain. The habit's really going to stick in your brain. And all of a sudden, maybe 1 or 2 years down the road, wow, you're this guy who has like amazing habits, amazing skills. Yeah, it took 2 years, but they're not gonna disappear.
You're so lucky. You're such a lucky guy. You got all these results. Lucky you.
Exactly. But yeah, it takes time. And so my advice is know that it takes time and enjoy the process. That's it.
Thank you very much, G. It was an honor to have you here. It was really amazing. We learned a lot, and hopefully we're gonna learn much more even in the future. We will be again in a podcast like later on down the road to see how the things are going. So thank you very much for today. A lot of new knowledge and practical advices there, which is not only theory, but it's really a practical thing that everyone can implement in their life. Like a small habit that will bring this compound effect of success later on. So thank you very much a lot, G. See you next time, and it was a pleasure to have you here at Top 1% with Axel Maaw, and today with our special guest was Guillermo.
Thank you, man. Honor to be here. Have a nice one.